I want answers. I want to know why he would do something like this. What would make him do something like that to all these women and think that it's okay? You know, I mean, now I live with that every day. Every time I see a cop or I see black and white, I start to get sweaty and I start to get nervous.
He pulled me over and then frisked me inappropriately and apologized for holding my hand, and then stated that it was because I was so hot, is what he said. And then he stated that there was a school up around the corner that I could park at.
Oh, I remember this.
And we went, so he followed me to the school and then came up to my window at that point and asked me if I wanted to go make out in the dark corner.
Takes me, puts my hands behind my back and puts me in the car. And as he's putting me in the car, his hand goes like this to put the seatbelt, and he's all like this and like this. And and then he says, he looks at me like this, he goes, I hope your husband doesn't mind. The only thing that went through my mind was, I hope I don't get raped because I'm handcuffed. I can't do anything. This is not a normal, interaction with a cop.
I don't know, and as I was talking to him, I didn't really think he was focusing on what I was saying. He was looking around the room and checking the blinds. The blinds were like halfway open, and he was concerned about the blinds being open, and then he was concerned about the motion detector in the corner and was wondering if that was a camera, and I wasn't understanding what was all of this going on. At the door, he hugged me again very tight, and he was very stiff with his vest and everything on, and I don't know, he ended up grabbing my butt, and then he also put my hand on his crotch and rubbed it a couple of times, and I was just I couldn't believe it was happening. I just said, what do you think I am? I'm a respectful, classy lady. What are you doing? This doesn't happen.
We should be able to feel safe, and one person can just destroy that trust for an entire agency.
Why do you suppose Richard Fisher hasn't been arrested yet?
Because he's a cop and he probably has special privileges. This was hard enough for me to come, forward, because when this happened to me, I didn't want to tell anybody. I was afraid to say anything. I said, who are they going to believe, me or him? And I left it alone. My husband kept bugging me and telling me, and so after a while, we hadn't talked about it anymore. My husband turns the news on and sees what was going on, and he said, come here, Lisa. And right when I looked at that thing, I said, that's him. That's the same cop.
If they had taken action with hers and the two before yours, then, like I said, mine wouldn't have ever happened.
It seems like it's not about the truth or not the truth. It's about politics, about, who's playing favorites with who's got this, who's got that. And it's, forgetting about all the victims that there are, the real victims and people that are hurting.
If it was anybody else, it would have been taken care of.
So yours would have been avoided as well as mine, had they taken action sooner with the others.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it shouldn't have happened.
They're definitely dragging their feet.
Why do you say that?
I can only say the same thing, that it's one of their own.
As a former prosecutor, there's a lot of reasons why you might delay an investigation. I wouldn't want to speculate as to why the prosecuting agency would not have issued charges. I'm hoping that there's legitimate law enforcement reason, and I would expect it, at least with my past experience with the district attorney's office, there is. However, I think that it would be helpful maybe if someone reached out and at least privately talked to them and let them know this is why.
And as far as victim services?
Nothing.
What?
No victim
Nothing.
services.
Nothing,
No, I never received a phone call after that interview.
Exactly. Same with me. They talked to me.
Nobody's-
They made a big deal about they contacted me after the first call to the sheriff's whatever sex crime thing or whatever it was, internal investigation. That was the first call my husband made. They called me right back like that. And then they called me, the minute I got off with them, somebody else called me from the sheriff's, the sex crime guy, and he said, I need to see you right away. And they were on it real quick to get my statement and get everything they needed from me. And then that was it.
No, nothing.
Nothing. They called my kids. They talked to other people that they wanted to.
It's like they're trying to sweep it under the rug.
They had a file in front of Officer Pina, and he had a file in front of him. with my picture on it.
Yeah.
And then sat me down and tried to tell me and tried explaining to me that they weren't there for me or for anything in my background or anything like that, and not to make me nervous or anything like that. They just wanted to be sure that I knew that. But the whole setting felt like I was under investigation.
Yeah.
That it was me that was under investigation.
How incredibly frightening this is for victims while it's happening, and then afterwards, looking back on it, the fear of what if,
Mhm.
why was he looking for secluded places? Why was he wanting to see if my blinds were closed? Why is he looking for security cameras? What does that mean? What would he have done if I fought him? I mean, that's the kind of things that victims relive over and over again. And I think that people that don't understand sexual assault victims and don't understand these types of issues don't really understand the trauma that follows them. And it's very real, and it's very debilitating.